Chapter 7: Influence and Significance of the Spiritual Teachings. The Effect of the Revelations. Here, before this word, there is no man who does not tremble both inside and outside his being, that is to say, in spirit and flesh. Here, upon hearing me, is when each one thinks of life, of death, of divine justice, of eternity, of spiritual life, and of good and evil. Here is where, on hearing my voice, each feels within himself the presence of his spirit and remembers from where he comes. Listening to me, each feels for those moments identified with all his fellows, recognizing them in the depths of their being as his true brothers and sisters in spiritual eternity, closer still than those who are such only in flesh, for that is transitory upon earth. There is no man or woman who hearing me does not feel my eyes upon them, and so none dare hide or dissimulate from me their blemishes. And I point them out, but not publicly, for I am the judge who never shames publicly. I tell you that among you I have discovered adultery, infanticide, robbery, vices and defects that are like leprosy on the spirit of he who has sinned. But I do not come merely to prove to you the truth of my word by demonstrating that I can uncover the failures of your heart. I wish to show you also the power of my lessons, giving you the arms to defeat evil and temptation, showing you how to achieve regeneration, awakening in your being a yearning for all that is good, elevated and pure, and an absolute revulsion for all that is ignoble, all that is false, and for all that is bad for the spirit. Today you still live the shadowed days that precede the light. Nonetheless, the light, taking advantage of the small, clear spots in your cloudy sky, shines through with brief rays that reach some points on the earth, touching hearts and shaking and awakening the spirits. All that have been surprised by this light have stopped in their path to ask, "Who are you?" And I have answered, "I am the light of the world. I am the light of eternity. I am truth and love. I am he who promised to return to speak to you, he whom they said was the Word of Yah." Like Saul on the road to Damascus, they have humiliated all their haughtiness, have beaten down their pride, and humbly bowed their faces to say from the heart, "My Father and Elohim, forgive me. Now I understand that without knowing it, I was persecuting you." From that instant, those hearts have become small followers. For in this third era until this moment, there has not appeared among my new disciples an apostle of the level of he who has persecuted me and my disciples, only to later love me with such intensity. The religions sleep the sleep of centuries of routine and stagnation, while the truth has remained hidden. But those that know the commandments of Yahusha and the words of the divine master shall have to recognize in this voice that speaks to you now the voice of the Spirit of truth, promised for those times. I know that many will feel scandalized when they hear this word, but it shall be those who in their confusion do not wish to recognize that in man there exists, in addition to his human nature, a part that is spiritual, or they who, believing in the human spirit, but welded to the routine of their traditions and beliefs, deny the existence of a path of infinite evolution for the spirit. These words I will leave written, and they will come to my disciples in the future. And they, upon studying them, will find them fresh and alive, and their spirits shall tremble with pleasure at the feeling that their master speaks to them at that instant. Do you believe that all I have told you would be only for those who have heard me? No, beloved people. With my word, I am speaking to those present and to those absent. For those of today, tomorrow, and all time, for those who have died, for those who live, and for those who have yet to be born. Hope and understanding of the new word. I am the word of love that comes to comfort those who suffer, the troubled, they who weep, the sinner, and he or she who has sought for me. And my word in those hearts is the river where they calm their thirst and cleanse their impurities, is also the way that leads to the eternal dwelling of rest and peace. How can you imagine that the struggle of life, its sacrifices, vicissitudes, and trials ends in death without finding a just reward in eternity? It is therefore that my law and my doctrine with its revelations and promises are for your hearts the motivation, the caress and the balm of this life's journey. Only when you depart from my teachings do you feel hungry and weak. In my divine love for these human creatures, I have permitted them to scrutinize my works and to take from all that has been created, so that none might have motive to say that Yah is unjust because he hides his wisdom from his children. Although I formed you and gave you the gift of free will, I have respected it, in spite of the fact that man, abusing that freedom, has offended me and profaned my law. Today I come to make you feel the caress of my forgiveness, illuminating your spirit with the light of my wisdom, so that one by one my children return to the path of truth. The spirit of truth, which is my light, shines in the conscience, because you find yourselves in the foretold times in which every mystery would be explained, so that you may comprehend that which until now has not been interpreted as it should. I have come to communicate on this spot on earth, and I will leave my word as a gift for all men. This gift will remove spiritual poverty and humanity from humanity. I will inspire in all the truth form of adoration of Yah, as well as the way to live according to the divine law, whose fulfillment is the only thing that Yah will recognize in each of you. Finally, O humanity, you will know the content and essence of my word. Then you will find that my doctrine is not only the divine voice which speaks to men, but also the expression of all the spirits. My word is the voice that encourages. It is the cry of freedom and the anchor of salvation. The power of the Word of Yah. My doctrine develops man in all his aspects. It sensitizes and ennobles his heart, awakens and deepens his mind, and perfects and elevates his spirit. Make a profound study of my doctrines, permit you to understand the right way to practice my teachings, so that your development will be harmonious, so that you do not develop your mind alone without concern for the ideals of the spirit, which you should encourage. All the potentials of your being can find in my word the luminous road on which they can grow and perfect themselves infinitely. My doctrine is essentially spiritual. It is light and strength that descends and penetrates your spirit to make it victorious in its combat against evil. My word is not merely for the amusement of the ear, it is the light of the spirit. Do you wish to hear me with the spirit, so that it is the spirit who is sustained and takes advantage of the essence of this teaching? Clean your heart, clear your mind, and let your conscience be your guide. You will see then how in your being there will begin to be a transformation, not only spiritual, but also moral and of the body. The elevation that the spirit gains with knowledge, that cleanliness that it reaches, is reflected in the sentiments of the heart and the health of the body. Passions will become weaker, vices will begin to disappear, and fanaticism and ignorance will give way to true faith and profound knowledge of my law. This doctrine, known by a few and unknown by humanity in general, will soon come as a balm over all who suffer, to offer comfort, kindle faith, disperse the darkness, and inculcate hope. It shall raise you above sin, misery, pain, and death. It can be no other way, for it is I, the divine doctor, the promised comforter, who has come to reveal it to you. When you have been spiritualized and you find yourself with men who suffer and are desperate because they cannot have that which they desire in the world, you will see how their materialism contrasts with the elevation of my disciples, whose conformity shall be great, because their ambitions and yearnings shall be noble, based in the firm conviction that in this life all is transitory. My disciples will speak to the world with examples of spirituality through a life that struggles to bring the spirit closer to the divinity instead of being chained to the false riches of the world. I know that the materialists of future times will be scandalized upon hearing this doctrine, but their conscience will tell them that my word speaks only truth. On the great journey that awaits you, I shall be your Serene. Simon of Cyrene helped Yahusha carry the cross to Calvary. My doctrine will cause great revelations in the world. There will be great transformations in customs and ideas, and even in nature there shall be changes. All of this shall signal the beginning of a new era for humanity, and the spirits who in a short time I send to earth will speak of these prophecies to help with the restoration and elevation of this world, explain my word, and analyze events. This third era is a time of resurrection. The spirits had seemed dead, and the bodies their sepulchres. But the Master has come before them, whose word of life speaks to them, saying, Arise, and rise to the light, to freedom. He who upon opening his eyes to the truth knows how to elevate his life, his works, and his feelings in love for his brothers, shall cease to look at the world as a veil of tears and atonement, for he will have begun to feel the joy of the true peace that comes from serenity. The state of elevation in this life shall be a reflection of the perfect peace and light that the Spirit will go to enjoy in the better mansions, where I myself will receive them and award them hospitality worthy of their merits. Reaction of Theologians and Materialists. Do not be disturbed when they tell you that he who has spoken to you during this period has been the tempter, and that it was foretold that he would also perform miracles, with which he would perturb and confuse the very chosen ones. Truly I say to you, that many who think in that way about my manifestation will be those who actually are in the service of evil and in darkness, although their lips try to assure that they are always spreading the truth. Do not forget that the tree is known by its fruits, and I say to you, the fruit is the word which has come to vibrate through the faculties of these spokesmen, men and women of simple heart. By the fruits and spiritual progress of those who have tasted it, mankind will recognize that I am the tree. The spiritual, Trinitarian, Marian doctrine will be spread, causing a real alarm among many who, believing they studied and understood the lessons which they had previously received from the Father, have become conceited with the knowledge of their philosophies and their sciences, unaware of the spiritual evolution that mankind has reached. On awakening from their lethargy, they will become aware of the manner in which the spirit of men thinks and feels today. They will hurl anathemas against what they call new ideas, and they will declare that this movement is being provoked by the Antichrist. Then they will go back to the scriptures, to the prophecies, and to my word which I gave you during the second era, to try to combat my new manifestation, my new lessons, and all that I promised, and which today I am fulfilling. Through the lips of my disciples and by means of writings, my word will reach even those who admit nothing beyond what is material, or from their knowledge and concepts which they have already accepted, and they will call me a false Elohim for bringing you this word. But when you hear this, even if your heart feels hurt, your faith will not suffer any discouragement, recalling with emotion that your master already had announced it to you and strengthened you with his word to resist those tests. On the other hand, I say that even if along your way you find falsity, hypocrisy, superstition, religious fanaticism, and idolatry, do not judge anyone because of his errors. Instruct them with my word and leave their cause to me, for I am the only one who judges you and who knows who is the false Elohim, the false Hamashiach, the unrighteous apostle, the hypocritical Pharisee. The war of ideas, creeds, religions, doctrines, philosophies, theories, and sciences shall come, and my name and doctrine shall be in every mouth. My new coming will be argued and judged, and from that shall arise great believers proclaiming that Hamashiach has been again among men. At those moments, from the infinite I shall encourage those hearts and perform prodigies where they pass to strengthen their faith. The effect of spiritualism. My light on being spread over the universe has given origin to the seeking of my truth in all doctrines, and that is the reason for the positioning of men in their different beliefs. And it is the fulfillment of that in which was prophesied. Who is it that bears truth? Who, in the clothing of a sheep, hides a ravening wolf? Who is he that by clean clothing ensures absolute purity within? You must practice spiritualism to find my truth, for humanity has divided into as many beliefs and ideas as evolution has had the mind of men. And so sects and religions have been formed, and it will be very difficult for you to judge the truth that exists in each one of them. My doctrine illuminates the thoughts and ideas of man, and little by little will understand the basis for perfecting his works, channeling them through a more perfect and elevated path. The moment will come when every sect and religion will scrutinize itself to find that which belongs to my work. But to find this treasure, it will be necessary for them to elevate their spirits and hear the voice of the conscience. Many religions exist on this earth, but none of them will unite men nor make them love one another. It will be my spiritual doctrine that performs his work. In vain will the world oppose the advance of this light. When the persecution of my disciples is at its most intense, the elements will be unleashed, but shall be calmed by the prayer of these laborers, so that humanity may behold an example of the powers that I give them. The world will tremble when my word is heard in the nations, for the spirit of humanity that is prepared for this revelation will vibrate with pleasure and at the same time fear. Then let he who wishes to know the truth free himself of the slavery of his materialistic ideas and recreate himself before the luminous horizons that will be presented to his sight. But let those who persist in obfuscation and the struggle against the light remain free to do so. The conversion to spirituality will bring friendship and brotherhood between nations, but it is necessary for you to prepare, for the contest will be great. If men rise in wars, it is not because this is my will, but because they have not understood the law of Elohim. The time of universal judgment has arrived, and I shall judge all works and all religions. From the spirit of man a clamor will rise, for all that is false will be uncovered. The truth shall shine alone. The awakening shall be among men, and it is then that men will say to me, Father, give us your support. Give us a true light to guide us. And the light and support will be the doctrine of the Holy Spirit, the teaching that I have given you, which belongs also to them and to all, for I am the Father of one and all. The importance of the new revelation. In appearance, this revelation contains nothing grand, yet you shall see the importance it will have among humanity. Among this people are disciples of every type. Some see a glimpse of the magnitude of this work and foresee the commotion that its appearance will provoke in the world. Others are content to believe that this is a good path, and there are others who do not manage to perceive the greatness of this doctrine and doubt its triumph and its establishment in the hearts of men. I tell you that it is a jewel that I have entrusted to you, whose divine sparks you have not wished to see because you have not analyzed my teaching. Do not forget that already in that time the word of Hamashiach was doubted, for men stopped to judge its origin and the attire of Yahusha, and on finding that the son of a Nazarene carpenter and a humble woman who would later raise up a group of poor Galilean fishermen to preach a doctrine that seemed strange to them, they could not believe that this traveler, who went from town to town showing the humility of his vestments, was the king that Yahuwah had promised to the people of Israel. I make these explanations to you because men are given to seeking the outward shininess that confuses the senses, to believe in the greatness of that which should be seen and felt only with the spirit. I had to spill my blood, give up my life, and rise again so that men would open their eyes. From what cup do you now wish my spirit to drink for you to believe me? Humanity, what would I not do to see you saved? Who comes to say that my doctrine is a danger to the material progress of humanity commits thereby a grave error. I, the Master of Masters, come to teach humanity the road to their evolution and true progress. My word does not speak only to the spirit, but also to the mind, the reason, and even to the very senses. My doctrine does not only come to inspire you and to show you spiritual life, but also to give light to all science in all fields, for my teaching is not limited to sending all spirits toward the mansion beyond this existence, but will come also to the heart of man to inspire him to live a life that is pleasant, worthy, and useful on this planet. The third era that in which you are living is a time of clarification of great mysteries. Wise men and theologians will have to correct their knowledge in the face of the truth that I am revealing to you. This is the time when man will open his eyes to perceive the light of my wisdom, for the light-made doctrine will resurrect him spiritually to the true life. Men will try to deny the truths of my revelation, but the deeds, trials, and events will give voice and testimony to the truth that shall arrive on the lips of my people, as the great message of the third era. By means also of these writings, my doctrine will be spread over the world, for it is a legitimate means, which since early times I have inspired in my envoys. I only ask that you be jealous of my truth and that you carry it to the hearts of men in the cleanest and simplest form. In the second era, my coming as a man was only believed in by a few hearts. Nonetheless, humanity later took the birth of the Savior as the beginning of a new era. And so, too, in this time, the beginning of my communication with you, or the coming as the Holy Spirit, shall be seen tomorrow as the beginning of another era. Listen to what Hamashiach, the manifestation of divine love, tells you. Peace to men of good will, to those who love truth and spread the seed of love. My peace be with you.